and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe in Lagos.
You are in the world watching us in London. I'm Austin Okonapan. Cecilia, action-packed sort of sports. Can you remember when I told you not to ask me anything about the women's category at the Australian Open?
Yeah.
I'm sure you can answer today.
Yeah, it was a shocker. You know, I had the headline actually prepared. I'm sure most people do, especially when it comes to the final of the women's singles in the Australian Open. I believe most people would have felt, okay, the world best players, the two best players in the world will be meeting on Saturday morning. But that wasn't to be because, wow. Now, Madison Keys, you know, for the first time in Australia, so many history actually made earlier today concerning the Australian Open because Madison Keys, for the first time, she's in the final at the Australian Open, and the second time she's in the final of a Grand Slam. She has never won a Grand Slam before. The last time she was in the final was 2017, and that was against her friend, well, you know her very well, who won the US Open, and after that, she hasn't won anything since then. And of course, right about now, Iga Swiatek, the second best player in the world, playing against the player seeded number 19, world number 19. At the end of the day, it was, well, she had to go. The third set actually went into 10-point tie break. It ended 10-8 for her to win that third set to get to her second final of a Grand Slam. Yet, Australian Open is going to be getting our attention tonight on the show. We're starting off with that one. But after that, of course, we'll talk table tennis in Nigeria, the longest serving table tennis in Africa. And of course, in Nigeria, well, it takes center stage on Monday. And of course, the presser was held earlier today in Lagos. You get details of what to expect for at the 56th edition of the tournament. Yes. NWFL will also get our attention. Games played across Nigeria on Wednesday. Edo Queens, FC Robo, the only two games they played so far, and of course the only two teams that haven't drawn nor lost, again maintaining their bright start to the season. NPFL, that rescheduled match talk about on Tuesday that will happen today, actually happened, and Aimba could not, well, stop the drought. They're yet to score against Canipilas. They're yet to win against Canipilas. That game ended 2-0 in favor of Canipilas right there at the Sani Abacha Stadium. Updates coming from Europa League across the world. We'll also be talking, across Europe, we'll also be talking about that one. Of course, Manchester City, they are spending money after they didn't buy they didn't bring in much players in the summer, but January transfer window, they happen to be the only club in England that is actually very, very busy. Players moving out and players are coming in. So Haaland will be getting a mate this time around in terms of the striking position. So much to talk about on the show tonight. Bolu Omoniyi, I can't remember the last time actually I had been on stage with him. The last time was on Zoom, but right here in Lagos studio, it's been like 2 years, right? I know. 366 days.
Well, I think it's good to say happy new year to you. Good to see the glowing Cecilia again. No, good to be again. Europa League, always exciting, drama, shock, everything. Like we were saying, some punters will be crying to the market today after Porto lost at home. Let's see what happened in the British affair between Man United and Old Trafford and the Theatre of Streams. The Theatre of Dreams
intended.
And the Scottish side, the Rangers. It's interesting that we saw City knocking outside the Champions League place, although they have one more game to do, they could do it from there. And I'm always a big fan of the NWFL. Any day, anytime. They don't stress me to get results. They don't stress me to get table like the men. You have to click everywhere to see what's going on. But tennis, we always find shockers. Can Madison Keys defeat 1, 2, and 3? She's done 3. She's done 2. Let's see if she can do it with the number 1 seed in the final.
We're waiting for that. Actually waiting for that. Austin, so we're getting started with the Australian Open. You said I should not ask you anything. Should I leave you out of it and I'll discuss this with Bolu?
You know, what a story for Madison Keys. I love this sort of story. This is what we live for as football analysts, pundits, journalists, whatever brackets you fall into when you come here and then you talk about oddity, you know. Second Grand Slam final for our first in Melbourne. And what a way to do it against Iga Swiatek, who easily people would have tipped to make it to the final. And here we are talking about a shocker in any way you want to define shocker. But shout out to Madison Keys. I think she's also been around for quite some time to get these sort of mentions that she's receiving now. Let's see what she can do when she meets Sabalenka in the final, Cecilia. So with that, let me pass it on to Bolu. You're in the final. You create a shocker. You think it will be shocking for Madison Keys not to go all the way?
I think it's going to be a big upset if Madison should end up winning this one. Yes, she's ranked 19th seed in the competition, but almost every tennis is a game of individual sport, but most of the time you can beat your chest that the best ranked players are the ones that always find ways to win. The first shock started when the Chinese king, when Jen got eliminated earlier. I thought, okay, she's still the fifth seed. Then came Madison Keys, set up Golf, third seed. Now she's defeated as Biontech in the semi-final, second seed. She's going to be playing Sabalenka, which is going to be very, very tough. Sabalenka's third final. Let's see if she can defend it this time around, but it's going to be tough. Madison Keys for beating his Biontech is probably going to be in huge confidence ahead of the game, but she played the game all through to the tiebreak, like Riley said, which could be very strenuous for you. Unlike Sabalenka, who played earlier, could just be resting, okay, bring it on in the final, but whoever gets the momentum fast may end up winning. We've seen teams, maybe you start well, you win the first set and you end up losing. But there's nothing anybody will say Sabalenka has to be the favorite for this final.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you on that one. But if you check the way she actually battled, we understand that when it comes to the Australian Open, Iga Swiatek, that's not her favorite surface because she hasn't won a Grand Slam there. That's why she has won a 5 Grand Slam. Now, taking a look at what she was able to do, I mean, Iga Swiatek hasn't dropped a serve since the first round, going to meet her in this semi-final. And not just that, Keys had to, I mean, she was broken like 8 times by Keys. And Keys saved a match point on her way to edging that Titanic battle. And not just that, that third set we're talking about, it has never happened in a semi-final match where you have a third set going into a 10-point tie break. I mean, that was huge. With all the things she has put in, I mean, you're still doubting that she may not be able to do anything against Aryna Sabalenka.
Well, you said something earlier that it's not Beyonce's biggest strength in Melbourne. This was her first quarterfinal since 2022.
Yeah.
She's only finding ways to get out of the event. So I thought pushing this far, maybe it's her time. Getting to the quarterfinal, breaking the jinx, got to the semi-final, then boom, she hit the rock there. You can't take anything away from Madison Keys without any doubt. Hard courts, similar to what they have in our country, in America. But Sabalenka has been here before. She's done that. She's won and everything, which is the advantage for her. In the last 2-3 months, she's been the best female tennis player, which is another added advantage. But shockers happen a lot in tennis. We've seen the likes of Emma Navarro win. We've seen Lele Fernandez, younger players who have never won before, got into the finals of Grand Slam and picking up the gong. So maybe it's time for Madison Keys to do it. But I still believe Sabalenka is the favorite.
Favorite. Okay, and talking about Sabalenka, I mean, they've met like 5 times, and then she has won 4 times out of that 5. I think the earliest was the latest is in October in Belgium, last 16. Sabalenka winning 6-4, 6-3. And the way Sabalenka is playing, I mean, she's playing as if she's how do I put it? She's grieving some persons, but we'll just take a look at her stats, before we talk about how she was able to destroy someone she actually called her soulmate. I mean, she's a friend and supposed to be soulmate. If you're beating your soulmate like that, what happens when you're going to meet someone who is actually not your soulmate? Now, this is a road to the final. In the very first round, Sloane Stephens, who won the US Open in 2017, talked about how she and Madison Keys, close friends also, but then she won it ahead of Madison Keys. That could have been Madison Keys' first Grand Slam, but it didn't happen. But Sloane Stephens was taken on the first round. I mean, just take a look at the results, 6-3, 6-2. And then she went ahead to meet Jessica Monero, and that game also ended 6-3, 7-3. Against Clara Towson, it was 7-6, 6-4. Against Mira Azareva, it was 6-1, 6-2. And of course, against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, this was the only one she dropped a set. It was 6-3, 6-2, 2-6, and 6-3. And of course, against her soulmate, her best friend, how did it end? 6-4 and 6-2. So this is the person that Madison Keys will be playing in Saturday's final. Madison Keys, how did she get to the final? Against Leanne, it was 6-4, 7-5. And the second round, Gabriela Ruse, it was 7-6, 2-6, 7-5. She dropped a set here. Against Danielle Collins, it was 6-4, 6-4. Against Elena Rybakina, it was 6-3, 1-6, and 6-3. She also dropped a set here. Against Elena Svitolina, she also dropped a set here, losing the first set 3-6, and she went on to win the last 2 sets to get into the semi-final. Of course, against Iga Swiatek, 5-time Grand Slam champion, it was 5-7, 6-1, and 7-6. Tiebreak 10-8. Now this was the game, and check how many times she dropped a set here. And also the big question here now is in this century, no one has ever done a tripit. Yes, in 1999, Martina Hingis, she did a tripit. You have Monica Seles, Steffi Graf. These ladies have done a tripit at the Australian Open, winning 3 back-to-back. So Arina Sabalenka is going to do something that no one has done in this century. Last time was 1999, and this 21st century, is it going to happen on Saturday? I'm putting you on the spot here. I have the right to actually do that.
I like the run of Madison Keys. I won't lie, and if you check her past, you could tell that she's been fighting. 11 match winning streak now for her, and way she saw Iga Swiatek, I think she's got the momentum for Aria with what she has done last year, winning the Australian Open and I think the US Open. That's enough motivation. I think she's gone 20 match victory now at the Australian Open. She can bank on that, but with Madison Keys, she's coming in there with renewed vigor. She's coming there with the mindset that look, people will expect Sabalenka to win, but I can just go out there. And she has said it right after that victory against Iga Swiatek that definitely she's looking forward to the challenge and she will be giving us some hard-hitting tennis. So to see that, let's not be quick to wax lyrical about what Sabalenka can do. I know there's going to be some contest, and I love upsets.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Let's wait.
I know that. Should I put you on the spot? Let's end it here. Rina, she's going to do something.
Well, we saw Beyonce do something in the Roland Garros last year, so maybe Sabalenka can do the same thing. Yeah.
Madison Keys, can you just win one Grand Slam for me, please? Okay. And let's leave the Australian Open. Yes, I know we'll be back here to preview we'll talk about the guys tomorrow. You know what's going to happen? Novak Djokovic. I wish it was in 25. All right. We're talking tennis. You're staying in tennis, but this time around we'll talk about table tennis in Nigeria, the longest running table tennis tournament. That's talking about the Molade Okoya Thomas Cup. Is marking its 56th edition in Nigeria this year. You're having over 300 players from 22 states and 67 clubs. They will be battling for the prize money and also for trophies. Just take a look at the trophies that they will be going home with. 3-day tournament is going to be starting on Monday 27th and end February 1st. So all tennis players, most of them will definitely be in Lagos. 300 players. I love the fact that, he's been producing champions since the likes of Atanda Musa. People have talked about how you have Arnold Kodri, you have so many top stars, and even some national team players. All of them have passed through this tournament because it's more like a breeding ground, for most stars. You want to be the best in Nigeria, you have to be here to compete and pass through this stage.
It's not just the competition that surprises me or amazes me, it's the consistency.
Yeah.
When you hear 56, you think it's maybe biannual, or you think maybe it's every month.
Every month.
This event happens once a year, and it's
56 years.
56th edition. The consistency is amazing. They've changed hands and changed hands, but the competition still remains. And the athletes competing are growing every year. Now we're talking about over 300 athletes coming together just for one goal, to win. And sometimes even we've had athletes not win and end up becoming table tennis stars. Why? Because there are scouts available, always watching. Sometimes in events you may be unlucky to lose and still be a very good player. And you have to give kudos to the guys. 56th edition, that deserves a whole lot of applause. I say it every time. Imagine we have for table tennis. I saw one for boxing recently. Imagine we have for every sport. We probably won't be complaining about FA. I'm not taking out the FAs not doing their job of federations, but we have people who not just have the passion behind the scene, who despite, I don't care what the government does, look at what Making of Champions are doing. Making of Champions are probably more popular among athletes than the Athletics Federation.
Of course.
Imagine everyone that have what it takes to organize are doing things separately. Our events will grow. One of the best athletes we have, one of the competitions or sports that we reign well at world stages is table tennis, and many of them, if not all of them, came through this event. Hopefully we get to see much more of this. I don't think it's stopping at 56. I'm sure most of us will die and still leave this event behind.
Yeah, it's been running for a very, very long time. Also, let's listen to the organizers. Sheodiko, you saw him earlier in the picture we just showed you. He was at the event, and also you have Eniton Shodi also at the event. Of course, the son of Mulade Okoya Thomas is also, he's the one that is in charge right now. As you mentioned, it's been passing, all through the hands of the children. They've been doing a wonderful job keeping this tournament alive. Let's listen to them, what we can gain from this year's edition.
The achievements of players like Atonda Musa, the late Yomi Bankole, Bose Kafo, and the evergreen Olufunke Oshunaike are testaments to the tournament's influence. Moreover, a new generation of players, including Olajide Omotayo, Bose Odusoya, Moise Adogoke, Matthew Kuti, and Aisha Rabiu, has emerged from this tournament. We believe that elevating the championship to a national level will assist the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation in selecting the best players to represent the country in major tournaments.
Table tennis is growing. It's growing fast. The players, the young players, what we omit to tell you is that the players mentioned, Moise Adegoke, Bosel, are members of the national team. And, that is the essence of this tournament. Fast track them, get them playing at a better level, and hopefully they join the national team. So the grassroots work of the NTTF succeeded. So many players, so many young players coming through now and playing for Nigeria in the international tournament. So the future is bright. That's what the chairman has said. We need to support these young players towards the next Olympics, and that's the challenge for them, to make the next Olympics with the support of the Sports Commission and with the support of tournaments like this.
We are behind this, we will support it, and we are able and happy to align whatever you are doing to see whatever we can support and whatever enablers we can provide to make sure we have a great national championship. And the main objective is to see not just about winning, how many talents we can identify and we can bring to the front, so that in the future those talents can be those that we can rely on to get the medals for us.
Yes, the support they're getting from everywhere. Austin, this is a tournament I know you've covered for years also before you traveled. It's been running for a long time, and this time we're having 300 players competing in this year's edition. They're getting support from the National Sports Commission, and of course the Africa Table Tennis Federation.
I love it, Cecilia. I love everything that was said at that press conference, and it's a clear testament of consistency. It's a clear indication that when you give to the grassroots, you will receive. Shout out to Deji Okoya Thomas, for choosing to keep the legacy of his dad. Some persons would have said, oh, this was our dad's initiative. Table tennis, what are we doing with it? But they found out that, look, this has been a source of talent, discovery, and development of table tennis players in Nigeria, and we cannot let it die. I love it so much. If you listen to the names that he mentioned right from the days of even Atonda Musa, Bose Kafo has been part of this, bring it down to the generation of Olufunke Oshonaike, to Segun Toriola, to Aaron Okwodri. Olajide Omotayo announced himself through this Asojuoba Table Tennis Championship. I like it because you could tell that this is collaboration in action. The Lagos State Table Tennis Federation, Table Tennis Association is fully involved. They've carried the national body along, which is the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation. Now we've got Shehu Diko, who's got no choice. He's looking for avenues where they can make that sports economy that Mr. President says he wants. So he needs this sort of competition that's got longevity, that's got a lifeline that they can go and look at, study, and say, how is this surviving? It's not football, it's not basketball, it's not athletics. It's table tennis at the grassroots, and it's winning, and it tells you one thing, that you just need to have a will, and then you have people who's got the passion. Look at everybody on this table, all of them. These are men that's got passion, to keep sports going. So shout out to the officials and everyone involved in the Asojuoba Table Tennis Championship. Remember that I used to cover it I go there and I see young talent, and I'm like, wow, this is the future of table tennis in Nigeria. And today we're talking about Matthew Kuti. He was just about 8 years old when I was covering him. We're talking about Augustine Emmanuel, who is now a top player. Olajide Omotayo. These guys call me uncle because they see kids when I was covering them playing the Ashojoba Table Tennis Championship. Jide has gone to the Olympics twice. Amadi Ome, Amadi Ome was at the Commonwealth Games with the team. This is a clear testament of what we can achieve when we invest in the grassroots, Cecilia.
Yeah, that's what it is. And the plus you're having here, having the president of Africa Table Tennis Federation right in their midst, because Wahid Enitonsheni, that's his president, so he's from Nigeria, so you have to be here. And of course, the African presence is also here. We need to go on a break. When we come back, NWFL will get our attention. Edo Queens, FC Robo maintaining their unbeaten run. All right, time to talk about the Nigeria Women's Football League Premiership Match Day 2. Early days, but some clubs are showing why they actually are why they are one of the best when it comes to NWFL Premiership. FC Robo Queens, Remo Stars Ladies, and Edo Queens. These teams winning their first 2 games of the season. We just run through the games that were played on Wednesday across Nigeria, starting from Group A. Edo Queens went to Heartland to collect all 3 points. It ended 2-1. And of course, Osigwe was the one who scored. Queen Osigwe scoring 2 goals for Edo Queens. Heartland penalty that they got to try level up wasn't enough. They won that one. Remo Stars Ladies and Ekiti Queens, these games was live wherever you were. You could have been able to watch it stream. Live was also on NTA. Danas Ladies and Conference Queen. Danas in Lagos beating Conference Queen by 2 goals to nothing. Abia Angels and Nassau Amazons. Abia Angels collected how many? 5 from Edo Queens match day 1. Of course, they gave 3 to Nassau match day 2. Trying to balance the equation there. You go to Group B. You have Niger Rattles and Rivers Angels settled for 1-1 draw. FC Robo Queens and Adamawa Queens 2-1. FC Robo Queens winning in Lagos. Delta Queens and Benue Queens. Also, you get a player who had a brace right there. And Ibom Angels and Bayelsa Queens. This ended goalless. So I know, yes, you know, when we talk about NWFL, we know the way it's run, the clubs, the seriousness you see. We don't have so much controversies, but we always focus, what's on the pitch. But Edo Queens, they started well. Their first game, they won 5-0. The second one, 2-1. Osigwe scoring a brace in that one. Yes, it's early days. We can't just say how far can they go. But the game against Heartland Queens, the fact that they went away from home to win this match shows how serious they are.
Well, early days in the NPFL is not the same thing as the NWFL, because the NWFL you have just about 14 games in the regular season. So it means when you start well, you are pushing yourself already for the Super 6 that they're going to go for. And starting well is one reason why I think, maybe it's time for Robo Queens to get back into. This has to be their best start in a very long time. We need to. Robo Queens started losing with confidence. Then they picked themselves up later on and can't make the top. But this time around, they won their first 2 games. Edo Queens, most of the time when you check in recent years, especially since we got back to the Super 6, when you win the championship, you know you are going behind the scene in the next year. But Edo Queens is telling them if there's a team that can defend, we can do just that. Yes, like you always say, you can call it early, but 2 wins in 14 games is a very, very good start for anybody. And there are just 3 of them that have that so far in this season. Edo Queens, Remo Ladies, and of course, I can call them my favorite team. Talk about Robo Queens. But let's see how far everyone can go. Don't forget, we are playing for top 3. We are not playing for the championship yet. And we all know that Super 6 is a different competition entirely. But at least to get to that level, you have to do well here. And the consistency Edo Queen had. Before now, Rivers Angels, when they won, they were not great in the regular season. When Bayelsa won, they were not great in the regular season. But Edo Queens, they were brilliant last season. They got to the playoff and they still did well. They still got to the semi-final of the CAF Champions League. That's what consistency, playing well, and good organization can do for you. Similar to what Remo Stars are doing was what they did. Unfortunately, it feels like the men are falling off. But the ladies are telling them, I say it every time, that's first what a man can do. A woman can do better. If you don't believe
show that last season.
Exactly. Just follow Nigeria sport, especially the women's game. You will understand that first.
I think usually it's across board. Also, with so many games played. Also, Bryce Nassau Amazon. You talked about them that they could be able to get their season well started. But hey, Abia Angels didn't want to collect and the other girls. By the end of the day, Nassau Amazons, not a good way to start the season.
I know Abia Angels humbled them. I wasn't expecting 3-0, but I love it. I remember I talked about them and said, look, it's time they get to that position where we know them. About three seasons ago, when we were talking about them consistently. But shout out to the teams that are fighting, like Niger Raiders. I talked about it, that look, they can actually announce themselves with a big game against Rivers Angels, and they didn't lose that one. So it's something to talk about. Also Ibom Angels holding their side, and not losing to Bielsa Queens, which is actually a very decent, team. But let's talk about Edo Queens and the way they are playing their football with intent, with purpose, right from when they came from that CAF, before they left for the CAF Women's Champions League. We said it, that we love the vibes. Goodness Osigwe with the brace. Nobody can forget her now, because I always remember that pass she gave to Peace MM to, finish off, Mama Lodi Sundown. So she has registered her name and her talent forever in my life. And she did the job for Edo Queens. Another name that we should always remember, because everyone is just talking about FC Robo Queens win. They had a scare. It took Okpeyemi Ajakaye to, score that winner for them to, get the 2-1 win. Yeah. So, and each time we talk about women's football, we're able to, give it this sort of analysis, let people know that it is competitive, that the management, they are doing their bit in terms of, being professional. Yeah. These are the indices, the metrics that we need to put out there to let people know that we can invest more in women's football in Nigeria and make the game, stay beautiful.
Yeah, invest more and you reap so much benefits. Group A standings, this is what it look like. Early days, yes, 2 games, but then some teams are telling everyone they're ready for this season. For Edo Queens, after 2 games, 2 wins, a goal difference of +6. And of course, they are on 6 points. Remo Stars ladies, goal difference of +3. They won 2 games. They are also on 6 points. Dana's ladies, just 1 win. Same with Ekiti Queens, also 1 win. Abia Angels, they've also won 1 win, courtesy of that win against Nasarawa Missions. Nasarawa Missions winning their opening game, but then they lost their second game. Heartland Queens and Confluent Queens are the whipping girls in this group. They're yet to win a game. Now we'll go to Group B. Only FC Robo have won their 2 games starting. Rivers Angels, their draw against Niger Ratters did not help their cause. They're on 4 points, goal difference of +1. Bielsa Queens, of course, after 2 games, also on 4 points, 1 draw of 1 win. Delta Queens, only 1 win. Niger Ratters, also 2 draws. That's what they've gotten since the beginning of the season. They haven't won a game. Adamawa Queens also 1 point, 1 loss, and of course, they've had just 1 draw right here and also losing a game. Ibom Angels are on 1 point, goal difference -1. And Benue Queens also, they're owing lots of goals, -6 for them. They're yet to win a game. For Group B, you have only Benue Queens that are yet to win a game. Well, for Group B, for Group A, you have 2 teams that are yet to win a game. So, of course, next we'll come here to tell you what match day 3 will definitely look like. Judging from the fact that you have so many of these big teams starting well and some also having a stumbling block. So leaving it, I'll quickly talk about this one. Caterpillars and Eimba. This game ended, well, a game in hand. I mean, you can't talk about it until it's played. We were thinking this might even help Eimba to move up the ladder. But right now, they dropped to 8 and Caterpillars moving up to 7.
The excitement in this game for me was not even the match on the field. It was what happened there, the race before the game. One thing I've been saying for a very long time is Super Eagles players, the last year or 2 of your career, play in the NPFL. Do you know what the trend about this game before the match was? It was Musa versus Brown Day. People started reminiscing the 2013 AFCON squad and everything. This is what I know people will say, but it's not the players that will raise the league. No. Everyone will play their part. We are playing our part by talking about the league constantly. Administrators are supposed to do their part to make the league better. There's no crime in ex or even current players 1 or 2 years at the end of your career, just come home. Imagine maybe an Oriental Derby or maybe Aqua United versus Rangers game. There's Mikel Lobi and Iwobi on one end and maybe 2 or 3 on the other. That's the rate it can give. And I love what this game brought. And on the field of play, the guys with the biggest crowd, the home team showed everybody we are still the boss in Kano. The stadium was filled and everywhere, and they showed they needed it more. Like Riley said, the win took them just above Enyimba. A game in hand is not the same thing as a game you play. Yeah, Enyimba have what it takes to go back. They have one more game in hand, but until they play that one as well, we still can't count it. Good win for Kano Pillars, like you said, they moved to 7th on the table. When the people talk about Premier League competition, Serie A, I tell them no. The most competitive league in the world is the NPFL, where you can lose one game and you can drop up to 5 places.
I mean, it happens like that. Also, I mean, Abba Adam was the one who settled this for Kano Pillars right there at the Sani Abacha Stadium. Enyimba, a game in hand, well, they couldn't win this one.
I know, when Adam scored the second one, I was like, Abba, because he was on fire, got a brace. I've been talking about him in my NPFL is beautiful campaign, and I tell people that look, you just need to follow the league, and you will see that we've got quality. And by the way, it looks so bad for him at the moment, but this is even their first loss since October. I think October the 20th, when they lost to El Kanemi Warriors 1-0. So they need to just find a way now to get back into the season. They've not won in Kano for a very long time, so I knew it was going to be a very difficult game for Enyimba. Kano Pillars, with this win, they can dream. I speak to Coach Musa Abdallah all the time. He talks to me about the philosophy in this team, the support they are getting from the state government, how Ahmed Musa and Shehu Abdullahi and Rabiu Ali seem to have motivated the other players in the team, and they want to compete. And now that they are back to the Sani Abacha Stadium, and the crowd will always turn up for Kano Pillars, so in itself is good motivation for them. But I love the competition. We cannot wait for the second stanza to begin, just so we can know where the title is heading, because we have seen what Enyimba and Rangers have shown us on the continent. We want to see if we can actually have a formidable representative in the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup, and it is the NPFL that will show us that, Cecilia.
Yeah, I think the second stanza, the break is, it was a bit long. I thought by now we'll just have like 2 breaks or something. Okay, let's leave NPFL and quickly talk about Europa League games across Europe currently going on, and of course the games that have been completed. ACMA and AS Roma, it was AZ ACMA won by a lone goal. Well, Bodo Glimt, this team just have a way of getting the result 3-1 against Maccabi Tel Aviv, and FC Porto and Olympiacos. This was a shocker. Bolu, made reference to it, and Fenerbahce and Lyon ended goalless. Completed results. You have other games currently going on. Offenham and Tottenham is Son Heung-min scoring a brace in this one. James Madison also on the score sheet. It was 3-2 over Offenham team from Germany. Malmo and FC Twente winning by 3-2. Karabakh and FCSB, it was 3-2 in favor of Ferencváros. Also, I mean, you have other games currently going. You have results for some of them. We'll talk about this one.
Yeah, the game between Eintracht Frankfurt and Ferencváros is still goalless. That game, it's in its 33rd minute. I see Elfsborg and Nice also goalless. 34 minutes gone in that one. It's Lazio 2, Real Sociedad 0. 34 minutes already played in that contest. It's the Europa League. I see FC Midtjylland having a good lead away at Ludogorets. So that's a good one. Remember, Ovie Jerry plays for FC, is a goalkeeper for FC Midtjylland. We've had him on this show before. The game between Manchester United and Rangers is still goalless. Super Eagles defender Leon Balogun in that one. And of course, one result I wanted to talk about is Tottenham's win against Offenheim. Kevin Akpoguma, Super Eagles player, was also in that one. Unfortunately, Offenheim lost that game at home to Tottenham, who really needed the win and did just that. Other games going on. SC Braga 1, Union Julius 0. 34 minutes also played in that one. Lots of games going on, Cecilia. We'll continue to monitor it, and we'll give our viewers updates as they come, particularly that game between Manchester United and Rangers.
Yes, especially that one. United will definitely need to win to put smiles on the faces of their fans who are not smiling at the moment. All right, we'll leave Europa League and quickly, talk about Manchester City. Yes, we talked about the fact that they are, busy in the transfer markets because the situation is just looking good. But then having a forward, I mean, Egyptian forward Omar Mamouche is the latest player they've signed. They signed 2 defenders last week. Now they are adding another player to them. And this guy coming in from Frankfurt, and he has scored 37 goals, providing 20 assists in 67 matches since joining that German side from Wolfsburg in 2023. So he is another goal machine. You have Haaland, who is a goal machine. You have another one they're bringing in. How well can he fit in? Because according to him, said he can play different positions.
You have to play different positions. If you're a striker, you are the one behind Haaland. You should be ready to play different positions. And last season, he got numbers where it wasn't even all that. But this season has been brilliant. 20 goals and 14 assists in just 26 games so far this season with Nigerian Power. I think that's more than good enough. I'm sure Pep somehow will find a way to regret selling Julian Alvarez to Atletico Madrid, because while they needed someone to support Haaland or even a backup player, they couldn't get. They had to go for Marquette and the likes. But now Mamouche, the question is just, will he fit into the system? Will he be fast enough so that, because Pep needs a solution like yesterday, and let him, Omar Mamouche, do that. He is a brilliant player, no doubt. He's got the numbers, no doubt. How he will now fit into City fast is where the question comes. I won't be shocked if Pep decides to give him a go this weekend against Chelsea, but it's a good buy, it's a good signing, and it's a good publicity for African football. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, that's what I'm happy about. I mean, you have 2 Egyptians right now in the Premier League. You've got Mo Salah,
the Egyptian king and the Egyptian prince.
Oh, okay. All right, I get that. You know, Austin, I mean, this Manchester City are serious right now. They brought in 2 defenders and they're bringing in a striker. So maybe the losses will end, or the goals that are leaking. I don't understand what happened against PSG last night. I'm still trying to understand how they were able to give that away. But they brought in rivals of centre-backs. You have Abdulkadir Kusanov, who came in, Victor Rez also joining them. And now you're having Omar Mamouche also joining them, signing 4.5-year deal with Manchester City. Well, according to a media report, especially British media, he was bought for 70 million euros, which is about $70.8 million. That's the money they are paying for him to come to Etihad.
I think the British media reported £59 million, and Cecilia, trust me, with my experience in covering football, this is a good buy, because at 25, a lot of clubs will see you as being in your prime unless you are a very important player, and that's the story of Mamouche. The good thing about him is that Pep Guardiola can explore to use him in any of the forward line, not just right in front. Can go from the left, can go from the right. They can put him in the middle, just behind Haaland or something, and the guy is fast. Let me tell you a quick story. How this guy went to Germany. He was playing in the Egyptian 2nd division. That's why I keep saying we must build our league. And that was where former Manchester United player, legend of the game, Ryan Giggs, spotted him. They took him to Germany, and then his talent blossomed, you know. And now he's playing for Manchester City. It's a big deal for a club like Manchester City, for a manager like Pep Guardiola to, you know, put a pass mark that this is the player that we want. It means you're really good. So this is a good one. Tells you the vision of Manchester City. While everyone is saying, oh, the 115 charges, will bring them down. They will be relegated. They have given Haaland the longest contract in football history. They've brought in Mamouche now. A certain club that needs a striker, that is struggling every match day, is yet to sign somebody that will say, okay, this is the player that can come around and make a difference. So congratulations to Egypt, and as you said, Africa, because this is the sort of progress we want for African footballers, so that they can put some respect on our name.
Let's listen to him, what he intends to bring to Etihad and how he can actually support Haaland to ensure West City are out of where they are currently in right now.
City is one of the biggest clubs in the world over the past 10 years. Of course, it's an honor that they showed the interest in me and that now I'm here. The last 2 years, my last 2 seasons were great, but it's just the beginning for me. I'm so happy to be here, and for me, City is one of the biggest clubs in the world, so it was not a question. I've played many positions. In the national team, I'm always playing on the left wing most of the time. In my former club, I was playing number 9 and sometimes the 10. I also played on the 8, so right wing. So I think I can play all positions. I feel most comfortable under a striker, so in the 10 position, where I can just turn and the way to the goal is quicker or shorter, I mean. But again, I feel comfortable in all positions, and wherever I play, I will always try to give my all to help the team. Pep is a coach that develops players, like you said, and I always find that each player always can become better. Always there are some percents where you can become better, and I want to learn from him, take all his knowledge, because he's one of the best coaches in history, I would say. So it's an honor that he showed interest in me and got me in this team, and I can't wait to prove my qualities on the pitch.
Well, it's always good when you want to play for a manager you always admire. I hope he can bring in a lot to Manchester City. Still staying with Manchester City, while one is coming in, another is going. They brought in 2 defenders. I think it's only fitting that they are actually, letting another one go. Kyle Walker is going on loan, to AC Milan. He arrived at AC Milan earlier today, to be on loan for 1 year. He's 34, right back. He hasn't been playing so well. I mean, I know earlier in January, earlier this month, when Pep actually said he wanted to leave, but he's on loan. I thought he was going to go, but he's on loan at AC Milan, joined them from Tottenham. Then it was £50 million 2017. I was like, why are they paying so much for him? But hey, this guy has won how many trophies for them? 17? Yeah, it's part of those guys who are winning all the trophies. But this season, I mean, he's one of the culprits when it comes to the defense line that, is leaking. I mean, there's nothing covering it at all.
It felt like the difference between the summer and the new season was it took a toll on him. One of those that really suffered, his space reduced, everything. It felt like his legs gave way for him. But it will happen. Age will catch up with you whether you like it or not.
But he's 34.
Football wise, until recently you start seeing players hitting 37. Yeah. Ronaldo doesn't want to stop at 40. Luka Modric almost 40. Like back then at 33, you are gone. You are ready to step down. And the pressure in the Serie A, not downplaying the Serie A, but the pressure is definitely not the same at all. And because he still wants to compete, that's why he's in AC Milan, not going to maybe Como or going to Saudi Arabia. And I think he's the oldest man in the Man City squad. So maybe Pep is trying to move on now, flush and start afresh, because it feels like he's staying beyond this summer with them. Why not rebuild again? And you need to get back to your best anyhow you can.
Austin, he has made 319 appearances for Manchester City, 17 trophies, as I mentioned earlier, including 6 Premier League titles, and of course, helping them to their first Champions League title. But then he has just made 9 Premier League starts this season, and he says he wanted to leave. Is he going for something greener? Because he's on loan. Is he going to come back, or maybe this? Because I'm trying to understand. I mean, you're bringing 2 defenders, centre backs. He's a right back here. Just to understand. And of course, the fact that he has not been getting much playing time.
I think ultimately the player knows what he wants. He's 34 and been there, done that with Manchester City. And I was speaking to an Italian journalist today, and he said, look, for a defender, if you've crossed 30 and you want to revive your career, come to Italy. And I totally agree, because go look at it. The Italian league, they've got this thing going that they know how to, you pick up defenders. So kindly can pick up positives from these. You asked a very vital question. It's a loan deal. What happens after the loan? You never know, and defenders, I think the older it gets, it becomes fine wine, so it might just go have a fantastic season, and City might say, oh, we need you, for 1 more season or even 2 more seasons. Even if City doesn't want him, he's decent enough for mid-table teams in the Premier League, to jump at him, So yeah, I see this as a good one for him. He's definitely going to play football, and I think he's very decent. He's got speed. He recovers so well. He can shoot. He's a fantastic defender, Cecilia. So I just wish him all the best and see what's going to come out of this move to AC Milan. So let me just give you a quick update. What's going on in the Europa League before we wrap up the show? Things went from bad to worse for Real Sociedad, where Munoz was shown a red card, and so it's now Lazio 3, Real Sociedad 0. Super Eagles midfielder Fisayo Dele Bashiru is on the bench. Hopefully we get some playing time in that one. It's still Manchester United 0, and Rangers 0. I told you Super Eagles defender Leon Balogun is starting for Rangers in that one. The game is in its 45th minute now, so anytime, about 2 more minutes, we will get into the break as regards that one. So it's what we'll continue to monitor, and we'll give our viewers the updates. I think that's where the curtain falls on this edition of Sports Tonight on Channels Television. In London, I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Bolu, it was nice doing this with you.
Yeah, I hope I get to see you again very soon. Yeah, have a good evening.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. We'll leave you with the highlights coming from the Australian Open, where you have Arina Sabalenka, doing justice to her friend. And of course, you guys want to get beaten by Madison Keys. Good night.